In early June 1942, the Bay of Biscay churns under a moonless sky, hiding a Type 7 U-boat slicing through the surface at 12 knots. Number 172 Squadron, Royal Air Force patrols from Royal Air Force Chivenor, led by Wing Commander James Henry Greswell, their Wellington bombers armed with air-to-surface vessel radar and the new Leigh Light. Lookouts on the submarine's bridge sweep the horizon, unaware of a bomber closing at 200 miles per hour. The boat's crash dive to periscope depth takes roughly 30 seconds under ideal conditions, the core metric defining survival. A klaxon pierces the night as radar detects the aircraft. The crew surges forward to tilt the bow. Hatches slam, vents open, and the helmsman holds a steep angle. The Wellington's searchlight ignites, turning sea to daylight, exposing the conning tower. Gunners aim for the bridge to disrupt the dive, while the bomb aimer prepares a depth charge drop. The aircraft must strike within that 30-second window, or the submarine vanishes beneath the waves. Every second shapes the outcome in this lethal contest of speed and precision. The U-boat's diesel engines cut, replaced by electric motors, as water floods the tanks. The captain voiced steady orders periscope depth, aiming for 30 meters. Reports from the control room confirm valves and trim, each action drilled to muscle memory. Above the Wellington pilot holds low altitude, the navigator tracking the radar return. The depth charge stick must land close within 50 meters to damage the hull. Coastal Command's night patrols hinge on this fleeting moment when technology and training collide. Engine overhaul after 50 hours at full throttle. The submarine's lookouts, drenched and breathless, clear the bridge just as the first depth charges splash. The crew counts seconds, knowing the boat's survival rests on beating the stopwatch. In the Bay of Biscay, this race defines the escalating Battle of the Atlantic. The Bay of Biscay, a treacherous expanse, serves as the gateway for German U-boats departing and returning to French ports in 1942. By mid-year, the Battle of the Atlantic hinges on a brutal contest. Can Allied aircraft locate and destroy submarines before they dive to safety? Germany deploys Type 7 and Type 9 boats running surfaced at night to conserve batteries. Their radar warning receivers tuned for enemy signals. Britain counters with Coastal Command's air-to-surface vessel radar, operating at 1.5-meter wavelength, and the Leigh Light, a 24-inch searchlight mounted on Wellington bombers. These tools strip away the darkness, shrinking the 30-second dive window that U-boats rely on for escape. Number 172 Squadron, based at Royal Air Force Chivenor, pioneers these night patrols targeting submarines transiting the bay. U-boat commanders adjust tactics, ordering loose formations to minimize detection and scheduling surface runs under cloud cover. Yet the Leigh Light's blinding beam triggered at 1,000 yards nullifies these efforts, pinning boats in a stark circle of light. The constraint is timing aircraft must descend from patrol altitude of 3,000 feet to attack height in seconds. Coastal Command refines approach patterns, ensuring radar holds contact until the searchlight snaps on. Depth charges set for shallow detonation at 25 feet must straddle the hull to crack its pressure seals. Radar recalibration after 10 missions. The Allies' goal is clear: disrupt Germany's ability to sustain convoy attacks by sinking U-boats before they reach open waters. Each patrol tests the balance of detection, range illumination, and weapon delivery against the submarine's desperate sprint to periscope depth. The night of 3rd to 4th June 1942 marks a turning point in the Bay of Biscay's dark waters. A Wellington bomber from number 172 Squadron Royal Air Force prowls at 3,000 feet, its air-to-surface vessel radar painting a faint return. The navigator tracks the signal, guiding the pilot toward the Italian submarine Luigi Torelli, surfaced and unaware. At 1,000 yards, the Leigh Light snaps on, bathing the conning tower in 20 million candelas of white glare. The submarine's lookouts freeze, then scramble as the klaxon wails. The Wellington drops to 100 feet, gunners raking the bridge to disrupt the dive. Depth charges tumble, set to explode at 25 feet, bracketing the hull. The Torelli damaged limps towards Spain, its 30-second crash dive too slow to evade the attack. This strike proves the radar light weapon chain can wound an enemy in seconds. Weeks later, on 6 July 1942, the same squadron scores a decisive kill, Another Wellington, patrolling under Wing Commander James Henry Greswell's command, detects U-502, a Type 9 boat running surfaced at 12 knots. The radar operator holds the contact narrowing range to 1 mile. The pilot dives searchlight blazing, catching the submarine mid-transit. German lookouts shout warnings, but the crew cannot secure hatches in time. Depth charges straddle the hull, their 50-pound high-explosive cores rupturing plates. U-502 sinks the first confirmed Leigh Light victim, its 40-second dive window closed by precise timing. Coastal Command logs the attack radar detection at 5 miles illumination at 1,000 yards and bombs away within 20 seconds. Aircraft maintenance after 15 sorties. The success drives No. 172 Squadron to refine tactics, emphasizing speed from detection to strike. The adversary's perspective sharpens at this juncture. German crews curse the blinding Leigh Light, its sudden glare shredding their night cover. U-boat commanders trained for stealth now face a stopwatch they cannot outrun. Reports from surviving boats describe chaos, lookouts blinded, bridge gunners suppressed, and hatches jammed under fire. The Type 7's 30-second dive, once a reliable shield, falters against an attack chain designed to exploit every second. Coastal Command expands operations, integrating Catalinas and Sunderlands alongside Wellingtons. These aircraft, with endurance of 12 hours at 180 miles per hour, cover wider swaths of the bay. Pilots practice low-altitude runs, skimming 50 feet above waves to minimize warning time. Bomb aimers adjust depth charge patterns, spacing them 30 feet apart to maximize lethal radius against a diving boat. Through late 1942, the Allies analyze each engagement, noting the critical metric: a submarine must be struck within 45 seconds of detection to prevent escape. The Leigh Light's role is pivotal, its 24-inch lens projecting a beam visible at 2 miles under clear conditions. Radar operators trained to distinguish U-boat returns from sea clutter, a skill honed over 10 missions. Gunners, equipped with twin .30 3-inch machine guns, aim to pin bridge crews, delaying the dive by mere seconds. The Wellington's 4,000-pound payload, typically 6 depth charges, delivers enough force to crack a Type 7's 1-inch steel hull if detonated within 50 feet. Coastal Command's reports emphasize this balanced detection range. Illumination, timing, and weapon accuracy must align perfectly. The human element underpins these strikes. In the Wellington's cramped cockpit, the navigator's eyes lock on the radar scope, calling range updates over the intercom. The pilot, hands steady, holds the aircraft level against turbulence, knowing a misjudged descent risks missing the target. The bomb aimer, peering through the nose, counts seconds as the submarine's wake fills his sight. On the U-boat, the control room echoes with shouted reports: valves open, bow down, depth steady. The captain braced against the periscope orders maximum angle, aiming for 30 meters before the first explosions. Both crews operate under unrelenting pressure, their actions distilled to a contest of precision and speed. The Bay of Biscay, once a sanctuary for U-boats, becomes a proving ground where seconds dictate survival. These early successes reshape the Battle of the Atlantic. Coastal Command's night patrols, now a regular threat, force German commanders to rethink surface transits. The 30-second dive, a drilled routine, no longer guarantees safety against an enemy that can detect, illuminate, and strike in half a minute. No. 172 Squadron's logs record increasing engagements, each refining the attack sequence. The Leigh Light, paired with radar, compresses the U-boat's reaction window, setting the stage for further technological leaps. The Allies' ability to exploit this narrow margin signals a shift, one that Germany's submarine arm struggles to counter. The Bay of Biscay, a vast grey battleground in 1942, tests the nerves and skill of both hunter and hunted. Inside a Wellington bomber of No. 172 Squadron, the cockpit hums with tension at 3,000 feet. The navigator, hunched over the air-to-surface vessel radar, tracks a faint blip calling ranges 5 miles, then 2 as the pilot eases the throttles. At 1,000 yards, the Leigh Light's 20 million candelas flood the sea, pinning a Type 7 U-boat's conning tower. The pilot drops to 50 feet, skimming waves, while gunners rake the bridge with twin .303-inch machine guns to stall the dive. The bomb aimer eye pressed to the sight releases 6 depth charges, spaced 30 feet apart, set to detonate at 25 feet. The crew's debrief notes the margin a 30-second dive window decides hit or miss. Below, the U-boat's crew battles time. The klaxon's wail sends men scrambling forward, tilting the bow for a crash dive to 30 meters. Lookouts soaked by spray tumble through hatches as the Leigh Light blinds them. The captain voice clipped orders maximum angle. The helmsman holds steady against the boat's shudder. In the control room, reports fly vents open, Kingston valves engaged, trim confirmed. Each action, drilled over months, aims to beat the 30-second mark to periscope depth. Depth charges explode their 50-pound cores, shaking the hull. The adversary's view is grim. German sailors curse the light's glare, their drilled routine disrupted by gunfire and blast. Survival hinges on seconds, with no room for error under combat strain. Training defines both sides. Wellington crews, often flying 12-hour patrols, log 10 missions to master radar interpretation. Pilots practice low-altitude runs, holding 180 miles per hour against turbulence. Bomb aimers, timing drops to within 2 seconds, learn to read a submarine's wake under searchlight glow. On U-boats, crash dive drills repeat daily, shaving seconds off the 30-second target. Crews shift weight forward, secure hatches in 5 seconds, and confirm depth in 10. Battery recharge after 8 hours surfaced. The human factor, fatigue, fear, precision, shapes the outcome as much as radar or weapons. A miscalled range or delayed hatch can tip the balance in the bay's lethal contest. Coastal Command's tactics evolve from each encounter. Pilots learn to approach from the submarine's stern, minimizing detection by lookouts. Gunners adjust fire to suppress bridge crews, buying seconds for the bomb run. Number 172. Squadron's logs detail strikes, noting how a Type IM boat needing 40 seconds to dive offers a wider attack window than the Type 7's 30 seconds. German commanders aware of the threat order. Metox radar receivers tuned to 1.5-meter wavelengths, but these often miss the Allies' signals. The Leigh Light's sudden illumination, visible at 2 miles, leaves little time to react. Crews on both sides, bound by procedure, push their machines and themselves to the limit. The U-boat's interior, a maze of pipes and gauges, amplifies the stakes. Men brace as depth charges thunder the hull, creaking under pressure. The captain, scanning the depth gauge, calls for silence to listen for propellers. Above, the Wellington circles, radar sweeping for a resurfaced target. If the submarine escapes, it may limp to port. If not, the sea claims it. Coastal Command's reports cite crew coordination as critical: a pilot's steady hand, a navigator's sharp eye, a gunner's quick trigger. The U-boat's survival rests on the opposite: flawless execution under fire. In 1942, the Bay of Biscay becomes a proving ground where human precision meets technological edge, and seconds separate life from death. This relentless duel reshapes perceptions. Allied airmen, once skeptical of night attacks, gain confidence as radar and light prove effective. German crews trained to rely on stealth, face-mounting dread of the unseen bomber. The 30-second dive, a cornerstone of U-boat doctrine, frays under the pressure of coordinated assaults. Number 172 Squadron's successes. Luigi Torelli damaged U-502. Sunk spread through Coastal Command, driving more squadrons to adopt the tactics. The human cost is clear: exhaustion from long patrols, stress of split-second decisions, and the ever-present risk of failure. Yet the battle's rhythm accelerates, setting the stage for technological shifts that will further tighten the noose. By spring 1943, the Bay of Biscay's night patrols grow deadlier for U-boats as Coastal Command unveils new tools to exploit the 30-second dive window. The centimetric air-to-surface vessel Mk III, radar operating at a 10-centimeter wavelength, enters service, rendering German Metox receivers obsolete. This radar, mounted on Wellington and Catalina aircraft, detects surfaced submarines at 7 miles, even through cloud or fog. Number 172 Squadron, still under Wing Commander James Henry Greswell, integrates the system, allowing crews to close range undetected. The Leigh Light, with its 24-inch beam, remains the linchpin, illuminating targets at 1,000 yards for a depth charge run. The Type 7's 30-second dive, once a refuge, now faces an enemy that strikes before warning. A second innovation tightens the screw. The Mk XXIV acoustic homing torpedo, known as FIDO, debuts in 1943. Dropped from low altitude, this 16-foot weapon steers toward a submarine's propeller noise effective to 600 feet depth. On 14 May 1943, a PBY Catalina of United States Navy Squadron VP 84 sinks U-640 inches the Atlantic, the first FIDO kill. Unlike depth charges requiring a 50-foot straddle, FIDO pursues submerged targets, nullifying the crash dive's safety. Aircraft patrol for 12 hours at 180 miles per hour. Coastal Command and United States Navy squadrons deploy FIDO across the bay, targeting boats that slip beneath the surface in 40 seconds or less. The adversary's realization is stark. German commanders reliant on Metox find their receivers silent against centimetric radar's invisible sweep. U-boat crews drilled for 30-second dives now face torpedoes that hunt them underwater. The Mk III radar's precision allows pilots to approach at 200 miles per hour, dropping to 50 feet, before the Leigh Light exposes the conning tower. Bomb aimers once limited to depth charges now release FIDO, which dives at 12 knots to seek its target. Coastal Command's logs note the shift attacks no longer require a surfaced boat, as FIDO extends the threat below periscope depth. The Type 9's 40-second dive, already slower, becomes a liability against this relentless pursuit. German countermeasures struggle to keep pace. New receivers like Naxos aim to detect 10-centimeter wavelengths, but deployment lags behind Allied advances. U-boat commanders order erratic course changes and reduced surface time, yet the bay's heavy air patrols, often 10 aircraft per night, limit evasion. The Leigh Light's 2-mile visibility forces boats to dive on any aircraft, citing draining batteries after 8 hours surfaced. Coastal Command refines tactics, pairing radar with visual cues. A submarine's wake visible under searchlight guides FIDO drops. Number 172 Squadron's reports highlight success rates with radar contacts leading to attacks in under 45 seconds, compressing the U-boat's reaction window to near zero. The human toll of this technological race is evident. Wellington navigators staring at radar scopes for hours battle eye strain to distinguish U-boat returns from sea clutter. Pilots flying 50-foot attack runs risk collision with waves in darkness. U-boat crews trapped in steel hulls endure the terror of FIDO's faint whine approaching through the deep. The captain monitoring depth gauges orders silence as the torpedo homes in. Both sides push endurance. Allied airmen log 12-hour missions, while U-boat men face weeks at sea, surfacing only under threat. The Bay of Biscay, a crucible of innovation, reveals how radar and torpedoes rewrite the rules, making the 30-second dive a fading defense. This shift reverberates through the Battle of the Atlantic. Coastal Command's integrated systems, radar, light, and FIDO, turn night into day and depth into danger. German losses mount with boats sunk or damaged before reaching convoy routes. The Type 7's 30-second dive, a metric of survival in 1942, crumbles under the weight of 1943's advances. Allied squadrons, now including Sunderlands and Liberators, expand coverage, each aircraft a node in a tightening net. The U-boat arm, once dominant, faces a grim reality. Technology has outpaced their drills, and the bay's waters offer no sanctuary. The stage is set for a broader collapse of Germany's submarine strategy. By mid-1943, the Bay of Biscay transforms into a graveyard for U-boats as Allied technology and tactics dismantle the 30-second dive's protective shield. The early war belief that a rapid crash dive ensures survival unravels under the relentless pressure of centimetric air-to-surface vessel Mk III, radar Leigh Light illumination, and the Mk XXIV acoustic homing. Torpedo. Coastal Command, led by squadrons like Number 172, now strikes with precision, detecting submarines at 7 miles and attacking within 45 seconds. The Type 7's 30-second dive to periscope depth, or the Type 9's 40 seconds, no longer outpaces the enemy. Aircraft need only arrive before the boat reaches 600 feet, where FIDO's acoustic homing can still hunt. The stopwatch, once a U-boat's ally, now ticks in the Allies' favor. The adversary's despair is palpable. German crews trained to dive in 30 seconds curse radar that betrays them without warning. U-boat commanders expecting Metox to signal danger face silent receivers against 10-centimeter wavelengths, leaving them blind to approaching Wellingtons or Catalinas. The Leigh Light's 20 million candelas triggered at 1,000 yards freezes lookouts, while gunners point 303-inch firepins bridge crews. FIDO dropped at 50 feet altitude dives at 12 knots, chasing propeller noise to depths depth charges cannot reach. Coastal Command's logs record attacks where submarines, even submerged, succumb to torpedoes within minutes. Radar calibration after 10 missions. The dive, once a near-certain escape, becomes a gamble with shrinking odds. Allied tactics tighten the noose. Pilots, guided by radar approach from the stern, minimizing detection until the searchlight blazes. Bomb aimers trained to spot wakes under 2-mile beams release FIDO with precision, its 16-foot frame slicing through water to find the target. Number 172 Squadron, alongside United States Navy VP 84, refines night interdiction using 12-hour patrols to saturate the bay. German countermeasures, Naxos receivers, erratic course changes fail to restore safety. U-boats forced to surface for 8 hours to recharge batteries face near-constant air patrols, often 10 aircraft per sector. The 30-second dive, a cornerstone of 1942 doctrine, crumbles as Allies exploit every second from detection to strike. The data underscores the shift. Interrogations of captured crews, like those from U-331, reveal Type 7 dives, averaging 27 seconds to 30 meters under ideal conditions. Yet combat, stress, gunfire, and searchlight glare stretch these times, with U-66 reporting 40 seconds to periscope depth. Coastal Command's reports note attack runs completed in under 45 seconds, with FIDO extending lethality beyond the dive. The Mk III radar's 7-mile range, paired with the Leigh Light's 1,000-yard illumination, ensures submarines are caught, surfaced, or shallow. The Type I's slower 40-second dive proves especially vulnerable as FIDO pursues to depths beyond depth charge range. These metrics, repeated in debriefs, cement the Allies' dominance in the bay's night skies. The human cost of this collapse is stark. Wellington crews flying 12-hour missions battle fatigue to maintain radar focus and attack precision. U-boat men trapped in creaking hulls listen for FIDO's whine, knowing a hit at 600 feet spells doom. Captains, once confident in their dive drills, now order silence underwater, hoping to evade acoustic pursuit. The Bay of Biscay, a proving ground for Allied innovation, exposes the U-boat's vulnerability. The 30-second dive, a drilled routine, no longer shields against an enemy that detects, illuminates, and kills in a compressed timeline. This inflection point marks a broader truth. When technology synchronizes with tactics, to survival windows vanish, leaving no margin for error. The repercussions ripple through Germany's submarine arm. Losses mount with boats sunk or crippled before reaching Atlantic convoys. Coastal Command's integrated systems, radar, light, and FIDO, turn the bay into a gauntlet. The Type 7's 30-second dive, a fleeting refuge in 1942, becomes a relic by mid-1943. Allied squadrons, now a relentless presence, force U-boats to rethink surface transits and battery management. The Battle of the Atlantic tilts decisively as the Allies' ability to exploit seconds reshapes the war beneath the waves. The stage is set for the final act, where attrition seals the U-boat's fate. By late 1943, the Bay of Biscay becomes a relentless trap for Germany's U-boat arm, as Allied air-sea operations crush the 30-second dive's last remnants of safety. Coastal Command, bolstered by No. 172 Squadron and United States Navy units like VP 84, saturates the bay with 12-hour patrols using centimetric air-to-surface vessel Mk III radar to detect submarines at 7 miles. The Leigh Light, its 24-inch beam piercing darkness at 1,000 yards, pairs with FIDO torpedoes to strike surfaced or submerged boats. A stark example unfolds. In December 1943, U-172, a Type 9, faces a prolonged hunter-killer pursuit. After detection by radar, aircraft and ships, coordinate dropping depth charges and FIDO over hours sinking the boat. Its 40-second dive offers no escape from relentless pursuit. The adversary's plight is clear. German commanders, once reliant on stealth, lament radar's unerring reach and FIDO's underwater hunt. U-boat crews surfacing for 8 hours to recharge batteries face near-certain detection by 10 nightly patrols. Naxos receivers meant to counter 10-centimeter radar lag in deployment, leaving boats blind. The Type 7's 30-second dive to 30 meters, or the Type 9's 40 seconds, cannot outrun attack runs, completed in 45 seconds. Depth charges, set for 25 feet, crack hulls if within 50 feet. FIDO pursues to 600 feet, nullifying depth. Battery recharge after 8 hours surfaced. Coastal Command's logs note rising kills with submarines caught mid-dive or shortly after submerging, their reaction window erased by synchronized technology. Allied operations integrate air and sea forces seamlessly. Liberators and Sunderlands, with endurance of 12 hours at 180 miles per hour, join Wellingtons, each carrying 6 depth charges, or 2 FIDO torpedoes. Surface vessels guided by aircraft radar close for gun attacks or ramming. The December 1943 sinking of U-172 exemplifies this. A United States destroyer alerted by a Catalina's radar delivers the final blow after hours of air harassment. Pilots navigating by radar returns drop to 50 feet for Leigh Light illumination, while bomb aimers release FIDO with 2-second precision. The bay's waters, once a U-boat highway, become a kill zone where seconds dictate fate. The human toll grinds both sides. Allied airmen flying 12-hour missions endure numbing cold and radar strain, knowing a missed contact prolongs the war. U-boat crews, weeks at sea, face suffocating fear as depth charges rumble and FIDO's whine nears. Captains ordering silent running watch depth gauges creep past safe limits, hoping to outlast pursuers. Coastal Command's debriefs praise crew discipline, navigators calling 7-mile contacts, pilots holding low-altitude runs, gunners pinning bridge crews. U-boat interrogations reveal despair. Crews report 30-second dives, disrupted by gunfire, hatches jammed, and valves misaligned under stress. The Bay of Biscay, a crucible of endurance, proves that human precision backed by technology can break even the most drilled routines. The legacy of this campaign reshapes naval warfare. The U-boat's 30-second dive, a tactical cornerstone in 1942, collapses by 1943 as radar illumination and homing weapons synchronize. Germany's submarine arm suffers catastrophic losses, hundreds of boats sunk, thousands of crewmen lost, curtailing convoy attacks. Coastal Command's integrated tactics, refined through No. 172 Squadron's early strikes, become a model for air-sea coordination. The Leigh Light and FIDO, paired with 10-centimeter radar, demonstrate how detection and standoff weapons can nullify reaction time. The Battle of the Atlantic tilts decisively, with U-boats unable to sustain operations against a foe that exploits every second. The lasting lesson is unforgiving. Survival windows vanish when adversaries design attack chains to outpace response. In 1942, a 30-second dive offered hope. By 1943, it guarantees nothing. The Bay of Biscay's grim tally boats sunk, crews lost, underlines the cost of technological lag. Allied innovation from radar's reach to FIDO's pursuit proves that seconds, not minutes, define modern combat. The U-boat's defeat, sealed in these waters, marks a shift where integrated systems triumph over isolated drills, a principle that echoes beyond the Atlantic's waves.